While many people imagine that the nomad capitalist lifestyle involves fun in the sun on a tax-free country's sandy beach, not everyone wants to live in tropical climates. And we've been asked multiple times by people, where can I go and get 4 seasons? And in fact, where can I go and enjoy snow? Where can I wear warm clothes? Where can I go skiing? Today, I'm going to share with you 10 tax-friendly countries in cool weather climates that won't break the bank on your tax bill. Hi guys, I'm Andrew Henderson, and here at Nomad Capitalist we help successful entrepreneurs and investors legally go where they're treated best, everything from offshore tax planning to second citizenships to investing in new boom markets. You can learn more at nomadcapitalist.com, and one of the great things about our lifestyle is not only being able to keep more of your own money, not only getting to choose where you go and how much tax you want to pay, and isolating countries based on what they can offer you in this very competitive global landscape, but you can also choose the lifestyle conditions that you live in. And so whether you come from a warm weather climate, maybe you're sick of it always being so hot. I spent a bunch of time in Arizona when I was an adult living in the United States. And at a certain point you say, you know what, I want some cold. Maybe you're from a cold climate, you're from Canada, you're like, I'm sick of this, I want to go to the tropics. You get to choose. And if you follow my trifecta method, you can split your time up and you can get a little bit of everything if you want. But for folks who are looking for snow, for skiing, for winter weather, let's talk about 9 countries that can offer that without breaking the bank on taxes. Because generally speaking, colder climates have higher taxes. Perhaps there's more of a focus on work ethic, particularly in Europe. Some of the more Protestant countries, they talk about the Protestant work ethic. People are always working, winter is coming, and the governments have cashed in on that. Whereas you'll see a lot of countries in the more warm weather parts of the world who have adopted either zero tax policies like in the Gulf or in Vanuatu, territorial taxes where you only pay tax on local source income. You can watch a lot of our videos on the different types of tax systems, but needless to say, warmer climates seem to be more friendly for tax savings. Here's a couple where you're not going to pay zero, but you can actually save money, especially if you're moving from the US, Canada, Australia, etc. Number 1 is South Korea. We don't talk about South Korea a lot. They do have a residence program with different options. You can buy bonds, you can buy real estate, you can start a business. They are perhaps one of the more welcoming countries in North Asia, and they have plenty of skiing. They have plenty of cold weather. I remember spending early January there. It was not exactly warm, and that was just in Seoul. You can go out, you can go into the mountains, you can put your skis on. Taxes are certainly not zero, but there is a way for foreigners who are arriving to get some benefits for the first several years, so you can pay a moderate amount of tax. And so it's a place where you can even work towards a second citizenship if you want. There's a lot of caveats to that, but South Korea, a very developed place, and quite frankly, not a bad residence to have in your back pocket, whether you like snow or not. Now, not so far away, country number 2 is one you probably won't think about and some people will complain about, and that is Russia. Certainly no shortage of snow or cold weather there. In fact, it's cold most of the time, quite frankly. Now, it's not on the radar for a lot of Westerners. Certainly getting in is more difficult. You can't really go as a tourist with most Western passports. It's a bit more of a laborious process just getting in. However, you can do things like start a company and get a residence permit. And what I've heard from mainly younger, mainly single people that we've helped is that they've gone to Moscow, they've gone to St. Petersburg, whether it's for the games or for something else, and they've really liked it. And they've said this is a hidden gem that Westerners aren't talking about. You've got a great social scene, you've got a lot of options, you've got Moscow, which is a really beautiful city, and it's definitely an option if you want cold weather. Again, taxes aren't zero, but there are relatively moderate levels of taxation, and if you run a business, there are ways that you can reduce them. Now, if you're an ultra high net worth individual, you've probably heard about country number 3, which is Switzerland. Again, plenty of snow there. Now, Switzerland has a lump sum tax. Not every part of Switzerland does, not every canton, but in certain cantons you can go and live and basically pay a flat tax every year, several $100,000 Swiss francs for the privilege of living there. If you have multi-millions of dollars in income, it's not a bad deal. and the services you get, the quality of life that you get, the sophistication of living in Switzerland is certainly unrivaled in that regard. And plenty of snowy weather, obviously a well-known place to go and ski. And so if you can afford several $100,000 a year, may not be a bad option. Country number 4, also in Europe, is the United Kingdom. Now, people think of the UK, they often think London, they think England, and it certainly does get cold there, so you have your proper fall and winter weather. But if you want to go skiing, if you want big, deep snows, go up to Scotland, to the Highlands. They have it. And the UK, well, again, not a low-tax country per se. They do have a residence program, numerous programs, whether you're starting up a company, it's more difficult than it used to be, entrepreneur visas, purchase bonds, get a visa. And if you can use the non-dom program for as long as it's around, you can dramatically reduce your taxes living in the UK. Number 5 and number 6, Latvia and Estonia. Again, not zero-tax countries. Estonia has become relatively famous for its e-residence program, kind of a cheap gimmick in my opinion. But I love that the country has been so innovative to want to welcome people. They're always thinking of new ways to remain competitive, even if some of it is a little indeed gimmicky. But they have also become famous for having companies where you don't pay tax until you take the money out. Now, if you're living in Estonia, certainly that makes things a bit more difficult in terms of how you're planning. And if you're an American, that also may be more difficult. So there's certainly some situations that you want to plan for. However, start a business, hire some people. You can get a residence permit to live in Estonia. It's not going to be an easy second citizenship to get. But they certainly do have cold weather. And I can tell you, having been there in April, it is not really that pleasant if you're looking for warm weather. And it was windy, it was cold. And very nice city, very nice people, but I was happy to move on. I had a little bit too much of the cold there, quite frankly. It kind of just burned my skin. So not a zero-tax country, but certainly there are some tax advantages. Latvia next door has made some attempts to be somewhat competitive at tax, perhaps not as interesting or not as sexy for some people, but also not the worst place. And here's what I can tell you. I was in Riga 6 or 7 years ago in March, so before I was in Estonia, I just kind of hit them one at a time. One of the most beautiful snowfalls in a city that I've seen. It was almost like a Norman Rockwell painting of Christmas or something, like this idyllic, almost non-existent view, just walking down these beautiful cobblestone streets at night and watching the snowfall with the lights coming. It was really something to behold, and I really enjoyed my time in Riga as it was snowing in March. Number 7 in more emerging Europe is Georgia. We've talked about Georgia for many years. What people don't realize is they have beaches, not the best beaches. They have cities like Tbilisi, very nice place. Gets down to about 0 degrees Celsius, 32 Fahrenheit in the winter. So it's cool, but you're not skiing around Tbilisi. But you do have mountains. You have lots of mountains. That's kind of the basis of the country, is it's on the mountains. And so lots of places to go. They have heli skiing. I have a lot of friends who go there and they ski much more affordably than they would in places like Switzerland. And they say, hey, we really enjoyed it. Going to Gudauri, going to Bakuriani. There's a lot of new up-and-coming resorts in the country. You've seen a lot of hotels being built in recent years. And there are a lot of tax advantages too. Now, residence permits have become more expensive, a bit more difficult to get recently. You can spend up to a year there on a tourist visa if you're from most countries. And there are options such as territorial tax. There's a private entrepreneur tax, which is very low if you actually want to work there and do business there. And so very tax-friendly country for foreigners. Next door, number 8, Armenia. Spent some time on the slopes in Armenia. Had a nice time. Not as developed. Does have a way to go, but I know that the country is very interested in developing their area outside of Yerevan and developing more resorts, doing what Georgia did almost 20 years ago and bringing in more tourism. And so they are also increasingly becoming more and more tax-friendly. Again, if you're running a business, there's a pretty low dividends tax. Tax rates are going down. I think it'll increasingly be a place that is tax-friendly. Country number 9, if we head back west, is Andorra. Now, Andorra used to be absolutely tax-free, sort of like Monaco. It was the more woodsy, Four Seasons alternative to the French Riviera. That changed thanks to pressure from France and Spain and the European community. So now they have taxes that go up to about 10%. You can start a company there to get a residence permit. You can buy property there. You need to actually spend some time there to keep that residence permit active generally. But Andorra, being in the Pyrenees, well known for skiing, really nice place to go. And it's a great alternative to places like Switzerland or Austria, a bit more under the radar, certainly known for some of its banking, and an option that definitely you should consider if you're looking for a place to spend some time in the heart of Europe. Now, country number 10 in South America is Chile. A lot of people have talked about Chile. I've spent some time there, not for skiing. Can't exactly say it's my cup of tea, but a lot of people do like it down there. They like that it's in the Americas. They like that they can get citizenship. It has one of the best passports in the world, real Tier A passport. And they have tax incentives for people who are moving there from overseas. You can get a residence permit, you can save some money. That part of South America is generally considered the safest part. And so if you want to stay in that part of the world, definitely not a bad place to be down in the Andes. And you can get your cold weather on the other side, side of the calendar, where it gets cool in the northern summers. Those are 10 countries you should consider. If you have one that really stands out to you, leave a comment below. I want to know what you think. Again, really hard to get just a nice, clean, zero tax, the way you could if you lived in Dubai or many other places in the warmer climates. But if you want that cooler weather, remember, you can always fit it in as part of your trifecta. You can spend some time in these countries and not have to pay tax, kind of go there and live as a tourist. Or you can live in these countries full-time and take advantage of some of the tax incentives they offer foreigners as well. How can Nomad Capitalist help you? 4 ways. Number 1, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell to make sure you get our new video every day. Number 2, get a copy of Nomad Capitalist, the book. You'll learn a lot of my personal experiences over a dozen years of studying this stuff, as well as exactly some of the strategies that you can use to build your Nomad Capitalist plan. Number 3, if you're not sure where to start, but you want to come and learn from my team and I, you want to come and mingle with like-minded people, learn more about our live conference, Nomad Capitalist Live. It's coming up soon. And number 4, if you want some help right now because you've got a burning issue, you need something solved, you want to lower your taxes, get a second passport, or build the Nomad Capitalist lifestyle of your dreams, go to nomadcapitalist.com and click on Become a Client.